2 weeks ago, we embarked on a brand new racing adventure as the International Board of Sim Racing's flagship competition, the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship, roared into life in Melbourne, Australia, and we were treated to a fabulous opening race with plenty of action, hard but fair racing, multiple three-way battles for the lead, and an intriguing tyre rule that resulted in varied strategies, keeping us guessing until the very end of the race. But don't for 1 second think the pecking order has been decided. Teams have a virtual budget with development and engineering points, and many have brought upgrades to this race. Not only that, today's circuit plays to different car strengths than Albert Park did, and if that wasn't enough, the heavens have opened. Welcome to Kyalami in Midrand, just north of Johannesburg, South Africa, for round 2 of the WMSC. I'm Ash Baker, and once again, I'm joined by Robin Ciuman. Robin, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Ash. Yeah, I'm fine, and I'm so much looking forward to this event today. Kyalami is one of my favorite circuits, and I think it should see a lot more high-level racing. So it's great to see it included in the WMSC 2023 calendar. So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, it promises to be a really interesting race. I love this track as well. It's been promised a return to Formula One for quite a while, but we don't have to wait. We've got it today. And to remind you, maybe, if you're not as au fait with this circuit, we have a track guide for you now to welcome you, Kyalami.
WMSC is ready again, ready to deliver. My name's Ash, and as we're about to dive into track day number 2, we may have to take a little swim. Because this Sunday at the wonderful Kyalami circuit, while we're fairly certain of a hard-fought race, we are guaranteed some heavy rain for the first time this season. This pretty curvy track with a mix of fast and slow corners hasn't been used by F1 since 1993, where Alain Prost clinched the win for Williams Renault. The track has since been refurbished a few times and is aiming to join F1 again, but in the WMSC, Kyalami is already an important and inherent part of the series. Let's take a look at one lap, and the Rainmaster Yannis Walborn is showing us, with Holland Racing Team, how to do it. We charge uphill towards the start-finish line into the lap and then slightly downhill at full throttle, taking an easy turn 1, finally aiming for the curbs on the right for the optimal braking point and line in to take turn 2. Watch the curbs in the wet, they could be slippy. Careful on exit 2 as the rear could spin a bit. Through turns 3 and 4, known as Jugski Sweep, heading uphill to turn 5, which is a mid-speed corner. A good exit here could give you opportunity to pass right before the sunset curve as we reach turn 7, Clubhouse. This corner could also drag your car into the gravel if you turn in too fast. We pass turns 8 and 9, the S's, with a good portion of speed, being also very cautious on the throttle. The uphill hairpin Leerkop is one of the trickiest parts of the track. Being early as possible on the throttle should be the key on exit. We follow the downhill back straight into turn 12, Mineshaft, and then turn 13, which is another slow corner where you want to be as early as possible on the throttle on exit. Again, we go uphill for turn 15, which Yannis is able to get through pretty fast. That is called Cheetah after all. Diving into the last turn called Ingwe, another almost hairpin. We take a wonderful exit and finish this lap of Kyalami. Bring an umbrella.
And as referenced in the track day preview, it's a little bit wet today. So the WMSC issues a forecast for each race. This is based on statistical data of the location in the respective month and was prepared by a neutral persons. And a neutral persons has decided chaos is the order of the day. We have mixed conditions for qualifying, a mixture of light and heavy rain showers, but heavy rain for the race, with a possible change in intensity throughout. So it's really going to be about who wants to risk the inters, who's going to go full wets. Everyone's got a choice of 2 sets of tyre compounds that they have to confirm before the race. Everyone has picked the more aggressive of the tyre sets, which is the super softs and the mediums. Whether that will play a factor at all today remains to be seen. It may just be who's going to go on inters and who's going to go on wets. But it promises for a completely different style of race compared to what we saw in Albert Park. So, yeah, I'm really intrigued as to how this afternoon's going to play out, Robin.
Yeah, I think we'll see a big shake-up of the order, because they say rain is the big equalizer always. So let's see who deals the best with these conditions.
Absolutely. And I believe the qualifying session is about to start any second. We have 17 drivers lined up today. We've got a few lineup changes, which we'll mention as we go. We've also got some upgrades for the teams, as mentioned in the intro. So we'll see as we go through qualifying, we'll talk about, who's brought what to the table. Not every team's decided to bring something today. The true pecking order of things when the weather is in play in the way that it is. So I think we are just waiting for the session to get started. We'll be able to join it in a second. And here we go, cars coming out on track. 20-minute qualifying session is underway, and off we go. How are they going to be able to handle things today? Now, we had a lot of confusion in qualifying last time out with people being setting times and then they kind of not appearing and saying they're on an outlap. Essentially, what we found out after was track limits. There was lots of issues with track limits and track times being deleted. So if that does happen, we'll know why, that maybe someone had breached track limits at some point. But also it was looked at in terms of the intensity of the amount of track limits penalties that were being handed out. And while we have race directors giving out sort of manual penalties and manually reviewing incidents, the track limits are handled by the game. So they've looked at kind of the setting in the game, and they're going to make sure that it's just turned down to a more reasonable setting. So it's still the same amount. If you have, I think it's 5 track limits breaches, you will then get a penalty unless you back off significantly, which I think we saw drivers trying to do last time out. But this time around, hopefully it's going to be a little bit more lenient in the sort of things that it pings them for. So hopefully we'll see plenty of times getting on the board, thick and fast.
Yeah, interestingly, I see on the live timing that we already have a different choice of tires. So there is wets and intermediates being used at the moment right now. If this information is, of course, correct, we can see Pascal Polens. He's on the wets. And he will be the first one to start a flying lap here.
See how much he's going to push this first time around to find the limits of the car. He's got a little bit wide on the apex of nearly called it turn 1. It's technically turn 2, and we discussed this before the show. That very gentle right-hander is technically turn 1, called the King. And as you can see, already Polens is having to feel around for the grip, taking it very tentatively and feeling his way into the session.
Yeah, I've seen Max Riedmüller take a massive gamble. He was out on softs in his outlap, but he's dived into the pit lane already, so that wasn't really successful, that attempt, I guess.
Well, there's no harm in trying to see when you've still got time left in the session. Might as well have a look and see if there's enough grip. There it beastly is not. But we'll see, which tyre is maybe the stronger at this point. Yeah, a little bit of a correction of oversteer on exit there from Pascal, just struggling to get the power down as he heads down through Mineshaft. Most important thing, though, is getting a banker in. Also gone.
Yeah, Cooper McAllister, purple sector 1, so he's faster than Polens at the moment.
Very interesting indeed. Cooper McAllister in as a substitute driver for SCMM today. Moritz Kropp, unfortunately, unable to take part, so it'd be great for the team if he could put in a good result. But the first time comes across the line, and it is a 1 minute 31.2. That is the benchmark. Let's see how the people behind him, and immediately Hess goes quicker on the intermediates. Well, 1 minute 31 dead. There is McAllister. 2 purple sectors, also running on the inters.
And that is very interesting to see that the inters or wets, they've set like similar lap times. So I don't think if someone has the upper hand, as Cooper McAllister, as we expected, goes first by over half a second over teammate Hess.
A great lap. He was purple in the first 2 sectors. Not the quickest of all in sector 3, but he clearly built up that gap over the first part of the lap. And that is very interesting indeed. There doesn't seem to be a stronger tie. The top 2 times are inters at the minute, but, you know, then you've got Poland's Vela and Walborn in 3rd, 5th and 6th, respectively, on the wets. So is it just personal preference at this point, or are we about to see everyone else make a sudden change towards inters? We'll see.
It's also interesting to see how the track develops and how the weather, of course, develops, because if the intensity increases, those who have set their times on the wet right now might have a disadvantage.
It's very important to get a good banker lap in. At the minute, the lifetime is reporting rain at 15%, so I have to see if that goes up as Von Wendt goes second. Hess immediately taking that back as Fournier comes around the final turn. Let's see where he slots in. He's not quite on the pace.
There goes Turi for pole, provisional pole. Yes, 130.1.
And again, my stream has fallen out of sync, so bear with me. My picture will catch up in a second. I'll be right with you.
Max Riedmüller, he seemed to be on a very good lap in that middle sector, but it was only good enough for 4th. Now I think we can already see that the Inter might be the tire to go right now. Everyone up to Danny Vella has set their lap times on the Inter. Oh, there is Jack Reeve. And he is on the super soft. I think we can surely say that this doesn't work right now. The track is way too wet for the slicks.
Yeah, just a hearty 7 seconds off the pace there in the middle sector. As he goes round in 13. The crocodiles snapping at him there.
But he managed to keep it pointing in the right direction. So, and he's going again. Interesting.
Interesting, very interesting choice. He filters in with the slowest time, 19 seconds off. 17 off the back of Jeffrey Fournier in 12th.
Riedmüller, another purple middle sector. Let's see where this puts him.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
he's the first one to go below the 130 mark.
And our rain up to 30% now is being reported by the live timing. So this is going to be a very important phase of the qualifying session, as everyone seems to be making the switch to inters now to try and get the times in. This is really important. I think if people are going to set, unless the rain dies off again, this could be the point where you take pole position. So let's see what people can do in these next few moments.
Yeah, Danny Weller is still out there on the full wet. I think that might be a bit of an issue for him now.
It is. He's way off in sector 2 at the minute. It's Daniel Benton Reader fighting for control with a very fast.
That might have been enough for first, but I think that has cost him.
In the 29s, no. But he does go second.
That might have been enough for provisional pole if he hadn't run wide there.
Now, Yanis Waldborn is and he's going to dive in after a purple first sector. I must have had a mistake in sector 2. Poland, in the meantime, does carry on. He heads towards the line, and that is enough to take him on provisional pole position by 0.2 of a second. Fantastic. I was just about to say, Waldborn is a bit of a rainmaster, known as a bit of a rainmaster. I've got some comments in chat saying that Denny Vella is also a rain god or a Reagan god. So we'll see how that goes for him. And we've also got Rene Vella, one of the new additions to the lineup. He's come in as the number 21 for Costech. Marcus Field has had to drop out for personal reasons. So we have racing brothers on the grid. So who's going to be Ralph and who's going to be Michael? We will find out over the course of the season.
And they're very close together right now, 10th and 11th. So this will be very interesting to watch if it stays like that.
Or we might have to have a camera more focused down the middle of the pack for that then, as Aaron Curtis heads towards the line and he gets himself only up to 15th, unfortunately.
Infernal Void, of course, they are a very young team, and they are using this season to settle in a bit. They also don't have the strongest car, so we don't expect them to fight very at the top of the order. But I think if they can keep it in the midfield, this is already very good for them.
Absolutely, and Lucas had a very respectable performance last time out. You know, he ran very well. He was in the points for long phases of the race. Plenty of supporters on stream, I believe, last time out as well. And unfortunately, he did have a couple of track limits penalties that knocked him down, so he might have scraped a point.
Ooh.
But he's got a bit of traffic now, though, at the minute. That is not going to have done his lap any favours. We're coming up to the split for the second sector. He was only 0.2 down of sector 1. He's almost a second down second sector, so that's not ideal. See if he keeps it going. Still a shot at an improvement on where he was. He flies through Cheetah. Going very sideways. Around the final corner. See what he manages. Heads towards the line. And it's one place ahead of, again, we seem to be talking about this man last time about waiting for him to put in a blistering time. Yanis Waldborn. Again, lower down the order. Maybe he's again waiting to kind of show his hand.
There's a car off. Streamline. I think it was a streamline.
Was a streamline.
Yeah, Jack Reeve.
I wonder if that's Waldborn is still going. Let's see if he can pick something up here. The minute his teammate Polands is on provisional pole position, and look to try and knock him off. Down towards the split by Mineshaft. Just 0.4 off, so needs to try and keep his composure through the crocodiles now. Nice and gentle, slowly on the throttle, corrects a little bit of oversteer. Now we head through Cheetah, turn 15. That's he might be able to get away with that if he's kept his foot in it. Exit the final turn. Let's see where this ends up. Wasn't the cleanest final sector, but it's a purple final sector, and it's up to 7th.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Just keep your foot in it. And immediately on stream, there are predictions that Denny is Michael and Rene is Ralph Schumacher. So we'll see if that comes true.
Pushke just made it up into 3rd. We've not seen that on screen, but in the standings. Race winner from Melbourne, of course.
An excellent performance it was too. Started from the back after an excellent qualifying performance that got him 2nd, but needed to make a setup change. One stopped his way to the win in Melbourne, so he's going to be someone to keep an eye on today.
McAllister purple middle sector once again, so this might be a lap to watch out for.
looks very tidy through Cheetah.
That wasn't the Wallborn line, though. See if it was still good enough.
Go ahead to the line. Let's see what he's managed.
Yes, provisional pole.
Fantastic. And after sort of the early phases where there were big gaps, it's all getting quite tight up the front. Half a second between the top 7 and Cooper McAllister. Oh, he's already been knocked off, and it's Yannis Wallborn. Incredible.
15 thousandths of a second. Incredibly close at the top.
He's just fine. He's felt his way into the session. And the rain is holding at 30%, but it doesn't seem to be affecting, conditions too much. People still putting in competitive times. And he's only, 100th of a second. Flicked to Poland's 100th of a second off. So this could be another fight for pole.
Yeah, we were expecting the two Holland Racing Team cars to battle for the win in Melbourne as well. We didn't see that. Oh, but this will be a lap. 3/10 up in the middle sector.
Yeah, he's kept it very tidy through Cheetah. A little bit of understeer on the entrance into Ingwe, but he's okay. This looks very promising indeed. Powers towards the line, and it is pole position by 0.2 of a second now. The Holland Team Racing boys are now fighting for pole. McAllister, I think he just made an improvement on his time as Reed Muller from Maniti Racing get a purple 3rd sector. Fantastic. It's his first appearance of the season after missing round 1. What an excellent bit of work that is.
Rishke abandoned his lap. Wasn't too good though.
Interesting. So Maniti, weren't very near the top last time out, but they are a very high downforce car by design, and they brought big updates, pretty balanced updates as well. So, with the conditions and the type of track it is, could be in a very good position today.
Yeah, they really could. This might be their race here. And right now it's working very, very well for them, especially for Reed Muller, of course.
Now Denny Bella, he's gone purple in the middle sector. Led for large parts in Australia. This could be a good time for him. Currently only 12th.
Yeah, definitely going to be an improvement. 6th.
Good time.
Now he's put a bit of distance between himself and his mother.
Just make a safe sibling rivalry there. Keep it nice, safe distance.
Oh, that last corner. That didn't work too well for Roy Seifert.
Again, another first-time appearance from him. Lorenzo Turi was the lone Scuderia Cesario run last time. Now Roy joins. He was supposed to be partnered by Yannick Barvig, but unfortunately he's not able to continue his responsibilities in the season. So Roy is going to be joining for at least this race, maybe the next one, and then there are discussions about who the long-term replacement is going to be. It may even be team boss Max Heyman, so we'll see how that goes. I've just seen something in chat which, if this is true, is quite incredible. Denny with a broken leg. Denny Bella is driving with a broken leg, potentially. So, that is true. 6th place is not too shabby at all.
No, it's actually very impressive. That's fantastic performance.
So rain is now up to 50%. We have just over 2 minutes to go. At the minute, we are not seeing that many faster times lighting up the screen. So have conditions just tipped now to the point where they're not going to be able to be competitive? We will see as Alexander Hess comes out in the hope with some fresh rubber to try and set something, as everyone's probably lining up for their final runs right about now.
Yeah, Lorenzo Turi now on wets as well. And by the way, the top 10 all within a second. This is impressive.
Really is, and we were thinking about, is considering how close the margins were and how close the racing was in Australia, we were thinking, well, what's it going to be like when the rain comes out? Is that going to really stretch things out? And it's great to see it's still been incredibly competitive, at least in this qualifying session. So I think that bodes well for the race as well.
And they've kept it largely on track as well. So this is also impressive. I think we've just seen one bigger off moment for Jack Reeve, who managed to get back on the track by himself. So they're dealing well with these conditions for now.
They are. It's all only just been little twitches and little moments, which you'd expect as the car is, struggling to find grip in these conditions. But yeah, it's all been very well handled by every single driver out there. Pascal Poland's 2/10 down, comes to the split for sector 2. He's 1.5 seconds down. Yes, it seems like the conditions have tipped to a point now. Oh, and Riedmuller now going slow, or is he just backing out? It looks like he's backing out. Stay out of the way. Is he going to go fire up for another run? Yes, he is.
Taking a wide line through that final corner.
This is going to be his final run kicking up now. It does seem like no one's really going quicker.
No, I'm afraid we won't see... Oh yeah, you can really see how much he's struggling there. The track is now really, really wet.
And by the time the race starts, I'm pretty sure it's going to be even wetter. So again, be a gamble on what starting tyre everyone goes with. It definitely seems like the Inter is past its best now.
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, look at the first sector time. I don't think we will see any improvement right now. So most likely this will be the order in which we will start the race. Unless anyone surprises us.
Imagine someone comes out on super softs now and just blitzes everything. Doubt that quite highly. But yeah, Pascal
I think
Poland.
Aaron Smith is out on super softs, if that live timing is correct.
Here comes Riedmuller. Oh, and just overcooks it. Yep, that's the conditions getting it. Bails out. So Pascal Poland's qualified 8th in Australia, has managed to stick it on pole by the looks of it. I think we can safely say that now. I don't think anyone's going to surprise us. Excellent work from Pascal. Team Holland, we were expecting them to be strong, and they've both delivered. They are first and third. Max Riedmuller, a brilliant performance from him, considering he didn't race in Australia for Maniti Racing. Cooper McAllister, another super sub, SCMM. Brilliant performance from both of them, but Cooper especially in 4th. Teammate behind him in 5th. Denny Vella in 6th with a broken leg. I couldn't do that with 2 working legs. Philip Pushka, last time's winner, in 7th. Daniel Benterid in 8th. Royce Seifert in 9th. Again, his first appearance of the season. Lorenzo Turi in 10th. Jorn von Bent is in 11th. Rene Vella is 12th. Lucas Murno 13th. Fournier in 14th. Reeve in 15th. Aaron Curtis 16th. Smith 17th. And Philip Feckler doesn't set a time, starting at the back for Costech. So that was a really interesting session. It was, again, a session that hasn't been chaotic because of the weather. Really good driving standards throughout. Before we go into the race, we're going to go for a quick break, and we will rejoin you for the action very, very soon. Welcome back, and you join us as the cars begin to line up on the grid for the formation lap for round 2 of the WMSC 2023 season in Kyalami, South Africa. An interesting warm-up there. Lorenzo Turi, who qualified 10th, was the fastest in the warm-up, and second was Pascal Polens, the only driver in the top 10 to attempt inters. It seems like the conditions have worsened, but we're just going to get all the tyre information set now. And I believe, oh wow, it's a complete grid of inters, with the exception of Curtis. We've got Philip Feckler in the pits. Not sure as to why that is at this point, but we will find out. And so rain conditions at the start of the race are rain 50%, wetness 15 to 60%. So we'll see how that develops. But we have Pascal Polens leading the grid around for the formation lap. Reid Miller, again, splitting the two Holland Racing Team cars. Cooper McAllister, a fantastic substitute performance so far for ACMM in 4th. Got Hess from Denny Vella from Better Julia, great performance from him, and he was very fast in the warm-up as well, so watch out for him. He got a great start last time out. Last time's winner, Philip Pushker, in 7th. Roy Seifert making his debut in 9th. Turi in 10th, but fastest in the warm-up, so keep an eye out for him. Rennie Vella in 12th. He was in the top 5 in the warm-up. And it's interesting because everyone qualified on race fuel. They have to work out the race distance and their race fuel and include that for qualifying as well. And there's no refueling, so it will be very interesting to see how that plays in. Will people need to fuel save at certain points? Oh, and now we got an update to the tyres, so it must have just been refreshing from the live timing. So that looks like we do have a bit more of a mix. Poland starting on the wets, Reid Muller on inters, Vella on inters, Benton Reeder, Turi von Vent. So an interesting split. We'll have to keep an eye on those intermediate tyre cars. And we saw last time out that both the Team Holland cars had a bit of an issue with tyre wear, both very hard on their tyres. So will that be an issue when everyone's all on the wet tyres? So many questions, but we will hopefully get them answered now as Feckler lines up to start from the pits. Oh, we've got a bit of a spinner in the background with a car lining up. Looks like one of the Streamline cars. Just managed to be able to get into position. That looks like Reeve. But at long last, the grid is lined up, the revs go up, the lights come on, and off we go in Kyalami. Everyone's away well this time, no one bogs down, heads through the turn 1 kink, and then the first big braking zone. Please, no Bottas bowling today as we break into Crowthorne. Everyone very sensible on the brakes, but it's a fantastic start from Pascal Polens. He's got a little wide on exit, but he's held it through, and it is a Team Holland Racing 1-2. It's Polens from Walborn, from Reid Muller, from Vella, McAllister, Hess, Benson, Reeder, Turi up to 8th. Pushker's dropped down to 9th, and Rene Vella up to 10th. Fighting with Roy Seifert, all having to block. Really got to be careful on lap 1. Going to have to be very careful in these conditions with all the spray. No one wants to make any silly moves here. But everyone is safely through the first part of the lap. Great racing from everyone to see. That's really good that they managed to keep it all on track. Good start from Turi. He had an absolute nightmare start starting on pole in Melbourne. And he could hopefully make some moves up through the pack today. But as it stands, Polens already has a lead of 1 second over his teammate. The Maniti obstacle cleared by Walborn. Reid Muller is holding in 3rd. Denny Vella up to 4th. Solid start from him. Once again, the SCMM cars are looking at the back of Denny Vella. They are going to be absolutely sick of seeing that now.
Oh, we have that situation again. What great. That's going to be interesting.
But so far, a very clean and very good start to the race. And we'll have to see what Reid Muller does. Obviously, his debut today. Maniti Racing have brought upgrades to this track and have a car that is high on downforce, which would be great in these conditions. We'll have to see if he can stick with the top two, or will we see Vela and the SCM cars they can move past. But a really good start from all involved. No penalties. Everyone's off and running. Vettel has already made up a place at the back and past Curtis. Excellent stuff.
I'm just trying to sort out the tire situation. I think it has resolved now. So if our information right now is correct, everyone is on the wets except Reed Muller in third, Danny Weller in fourth, Benton Reeder, Turi, and Von Wendt. They seem to be the only runners on the intermediate. Everyone else seems to be on the wets. Sorry for that bit of confusion there at the start, but I think we figured it out now. So the majority going for the full wets. Pace-wise, it doesn't seem to make too much of a difference, as Reed Muller and Weller are both able to kind of keep up with the Team Holland at the top.
Yes, Pascal Polenz setting the early pace. Great work from him. And yeah, it's interesting. I think it seems like pace-wise it's comparable. I guess the only other kind of issue is like what's Ware going to be like, as Van Vent looks to make a move at the inside on Fournier, thinks better of it. But he's looking at it, and Van Vent's just spun up his rears on the exit of one. So easy to do.
Yeah, and he is, of course, one of the intermediate runners.
So that's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if the intermediate runners have a bit more trouble. Maybe it can just be as quick, but maybe it's slightly more precarious in certain situations, especially when you're applying throttle. But at the minute, Walborn seems to be losing his teammate a little bit, and Reed Muller is now pressuring a little bit on the Inters, and Vela just behind. This is very interesting, and we had a lot of three-way battles last time. If we can have one more, serve it up for us, please. This would be great.
Yeah, this time with Weller running in third in that three-way battle. Usually he's leading the...
Usually the foil at the front. Riding on board with Walborn now. And goes a slightly wider exit line than his two pursuers. But at the minute, Pascal Polenz is setting a blistering pace. 2.1 seconds clear. Walborn just having to manage. Slotting into a rear gunner role, potentially.
Yeah, also interesting to watch for is that the Holland Racing Team cars, they both seem to be kind of using the tires up very fast. They were running on hards the entire time, and yet both of them were on a two-stop strategy. So let's see if this comes into play well here. Of course, with the wet tires, it might be very, very different, but...
Yeah, I do think that might be a factor, because I think they both like to race really, really hard, and you have to think, well, at what point is it going to be a factor where they might need to manage that? We will see. But at this point, it seems to be this part of the track, but once again, Reed Muller and Vela close up to Walborn, but then in the faster sections of the track, he's pulling clear, and that does make sense. The Team Holland car is a low downforce design, and they've brought big updates for straight line speed, which may not be the most important thing on this track in these conditions. As we can see, it is paying dividends, but he's struggling on the exit of Cheetah again, and that's allowed Reed Muller to close up. Is that straight line speed design going to save him now? It looks like
he's pulling away, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing. It's going to be difficult to try and get past unless, Reed Muller can force a mistake, or he can get closer in the twistier sections of the track.
Yeah, I think he has to pull off a surprise move, because he usually expects it to happen into turn 1 or 2, the way you like it, I don't know. But it's hard with that straight line speed of the Team Holland car. it's very hard for Riedmüller to try anything into that particular turn, so he has to try it around here.
I wonder if Sunset might be the place, because Sunset into Clubhouse, you've got that long sweeping right-hander, and you can see there Wallbon was slightly struggling. Maybe it's a case of you need to try and pop out and then try and make a bit of a bold move, and it would be a bold move into Clubhouse. Here we go, we see him closing right up.
And there he pulls away again, you can really see it.
Yeah, it's just a real concertina effect from through every corner. There we go. This is the important moment, because I think Wallbon is he's got a very showboating, erratic style to turn 15. So if he has makes a bit of a mistake there could be an opportunity for Riedmüller. But no, he's just absolutely taking off down the straights.
And of course, if he loses it there, this might have dramatic consequences, because there is not a lot of runoff or space towards the wall, so that's really a risky approach to turn 15.
Yeah, it could very easily go wrong and be race over there. Absolutely. Here we go. So again, he's quite close up to the back of him through Sunset. But no, definitely not having a look there. And, as we follow Denny Weller, who's at the back of this 3, you have to think, well, when's he going to think about making a move? Is he going to think about making a move? If Riedmüller can't make anything happen, when will Weller get impatient and think, well, you know what, I want to have a go?
Yeah, surely now, this looks... trying alternate lines already, Max Riedmüller.
All just queuing up behind again. Again, we get up to the interesting part of the track. So, breaking down to 13. Weller again, no one's really starting out or making any moves. I think everyone's just biding their time, being very patient indeed. Here we go. Through the final almost hairpin, as it has been described. And once again, so, Weller. It's more looking like Weller would look on Riedmüller and Riedmüller going forward. But again, nothing doing into turn 1.
Hollins has backed off a bit though, so he isn't pulling away any further. You were able to see him just there. 1.5 seconds about between them.
Yeah, I think he's got a nice sort of position to be in now. He can manage his tyres a little bit. So we will see. We don't know what the wear is, just as in Australia, so we don't know how many stops we're expecting in this 67-lap race. But we'll find out and work it out as we go, as Lucas Murno is climbing over the back of Rene Weller.
Yeah, they look a bit more racy than the 3 at the top. Oh, now he's lost a bit there through the S's.
Yeah, I think no one making any big rash moves at this point, keeping it very sensible.
But once again, that speaks of the high quality of racing we've seen in the WMSC so far. Oh, and now they are side by side. I think Weller ran a little bit wide there.
I'm just having issues with my feed again. I'll be with you in a second.
But Rene Weller solved that situation very well. Now the slipstream might help Murno, though, into turn 2, side by side, late on the brakes by Lucas Murno. But Weller hangs on round the outside. Incredible, and I think he keeps 11th. Oh, they're still side by side. This is not over yet. Yeah, that exit wasn't brilliant, and oh no! Oh, that was looking so well. Fournier and Rene Weller came together there.
That's such a shame. Such a shame they were doing so well through all those corners to hold it together.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
take
he
a look
just
back at that
lost
in a
it.
second.
Just lost it under applying the throttle. Out of that corner, lost the rear. And then spun into Fournier.
Shame. Looking very racy. In the meantime, Lorenzo Turi has been making very steady progress from his starting position in 10th. He's now up behind Cooper McAllister, who's dropped off the back of that front pack. I'm wondering if Lorenzo Turi might have a look. This is Cesario, another high downforce design car. Haven't brought updates, but could be in a good position today as he's just having a little look, having a little think about it. But you can see that he's looking a little bit more racy than McAllister is at the minute. You have to wonder if a move is coming. And again, interestingly, McAllister on the wets, Turi on the inters. We come round sunset. He's going to have a little look maybe into Clubhouse. No, stay safe. Just going to bide his time all the way around to turn 2, which, by the way, I did catch that little catching yourself for turn 1. I've had to tell myself that so many times. It's not turn 1, even though I would call it turn 1, but Turio on the curbs there aggressively. He's trying to line it up now. You can see certainly doesn't want to be on the defensive from Benton Reader, who is right there. I don't think we've seen the best of Lorenzo Turi yet. Yes, he got.
Oh, now he's strong.
He goes sideways. Oh my word!
He catches it and no. I thought he'd even make a move. He's still
holding it. He's alongside through Cheetah. He's going to go around the outside. Oh, and in.
McAllister in and Hess as well.
That's very interesting.
Double stacking at SCMM. What is going on there?
They were both on the wets. Lap 10, they've come in. Have they both decided the wet isn't the way to go? Jump to a replay. And this was the incident from earlier with Rene Vella.
There was actually contact.
That is such a shame. It's, again, complete racing incident. I don't think anyone's to blame there. Just a little bit to the side. Oh, and McAllister, it says penalty's been given there.
Oh, might this be track limits already, so that he had to serve a penalty right now? And has as well, maybe?
Well, no, it both says that they've gone on to a stop. Interestingly, Cooper McAllister is still on the wets, and Hess on the inters. That's very interesting. Yeah, we'll try and find out what that penalty was for. It's been given out by the game, because we can hear the race directors if they need to speak with it. They whisper drivers and us, so we can report if any manual penalties have been given. So that seems like, I wonder if it's a pit lane speeding penalty, potentially.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but Riedmüller is very close to Volborn right now. He might be even able to try it into turn 2 there.
It's the closest he's been there, hasn't he? He didn't lose him on the straights, and he's still right behind him. And the rain has dropped now to 30%. Is it the fact that the wets are starting to come away? Riedmüller's right there. Follows him through sunset. It's not the place there. No one feeling bold and brave enough right there. And we've got Reeve in the pits as well. Aaron Smith has DNF'd. I don't know what happened there, but he's not with us. It's his second retirement in a row, unfortunately. There's no! Pushed wide. Denny Vella, I think, just looking for a space, and it just ran out of road there. And I have no idea why there was a bit of a slow up there, but I feel like Riedmüller is now climbing all over the back of Volborn. As we come round to the start-finish line, are we going to see another opportunity?
I think this might be the point where the Inters actually are faster than the Wets.
He's got such better drive out the corner. Yes, the Team Holland car has got better straight line speed, but Riedmuller is right with him. But again, I don't think he's just got enough to hold him off once again. As Lorenzo Turi sets a new fastest lap time. He's in 5th. In a bit of clear
on the
air.
Inters as well.
Yeah, notably as well. I do wonder why Cooper McAllister went back onto the wets at that point, because they both clearly decided to jump in at that point. And McAllister's back in the pits. I imagine that's to serve his drive-through. He's dropping down the order. Such a shame after such a good qualifying performance and early race stint.
And there goes Riedmuller now. This might be enough, but he's on the outside now. Can he still hold on to it? Wilborn hanging on to that second spot there.
Only just.
How much longer is he able to do it? And there is Danny Weller already. He's climbing back.
I've got to say that Wilborn must be a bit of a roadblock now. He's been able to catch up very quickly. Did well to keep it out of the wall. This could be the moment for Max Riedmuller if he gets a good exit from the final turn.
.130.6, the fastest lap now by Weller. So the Inter's really a lot quicker than the Wet right now. Poland's with clear air in front. His last lap was a 1:33.1.
Yeah. Riedmuller there. He's climbing all over the back. This is the section of the track where obviously it's the most downforce reliant section. He's just not got himself into the position, but he's being patient. He's having his moment, but Weller is behind now, and I'm sure he's going to be slightly more impatient now after his excursion onto the grass. Riedmuller just keeping at it, and you can see that they are getting closer and closer to Poland's as well.
Yeah, and they're losing so much time. Weller was 2.5 seconds faster that one lap. And now Wilborn dives into the pits, yeah.
That's not a surprise at all.
Let's see how long it takes for Riedmuller to catch up to Poland's. I suppose by the end of this lap he might already be there.
Be interesting to see how quickly Wilborn can make my timing screen cannot be correct. He cannot have just gone onto the super soft tyres. He has. Wow. That is a decision. The track is still at 30% wetness. It is still visibly wet. What a decision this is from Yannis Wilborn. And he's going for it. Well, this is going to be a very interesting first lap, especially with the tyres as cold as they are. And Riedmuller's dropped.
What's happened there?
Well, okay. Where did that happen? The only place that I can think of is it would have been sunset into Clubhouse, surely. But Denny Vella, who set the fastest lap just one lap ago, showing his pace, and he's come to life. And is this it? Is this the moment? I know it's into turn one. They go side by side through Juxki. Sweep, a little bit of wheel banging. And then Denny Vella holds off and is ahead on the straight. What a move. And it looks like Denny Vella might be into the lead as Pascal Poland's just gone into the pits.
Yeah, he must have. Yeah, there he is.
So what tyre is Pascal Poland's going to put on? He's gone for the Inters, which seems slightly more sensible. Walborn has not undercut, and he's Walborn back in
into
the pits
again. Yeah, that was a gamble that didn't pay off, unfortunately.
He would have looked like a genius if it had paid off, but unfortunately, it hasn't. Oh, that changes things again, and once again, tyres appearing to be the issue for Holland Racing Team. Because again, they're naturally quick, but in terms of, the tyres they were on, it was the wrong choice. And it's about managing them. So, Denny Vella, for the second race in a row, leads. And he's being chased this time by Max Riedmuller. So an interesting front two here, both with decent pace.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what Vella can do and how much longer he will run for on these Inters. But interestingly, the split has very much changed now. The top 9 are all on Inters. The highest running wet weather tyre is Geoffrey Fournier in 10th, and he's yet to stop. Yannis Walborn has rejoined 11th.
Hats off, by the way, for anyone that started on the Inters. It were 5 cars, and these 5 cars are now all in the top 6. So this, for now, was the absolutely perfect call so far. They really moved up the order there.
We're just 16 laps in. It feels like so much has happened already just because it's, we've been kept guessing. As Walborn quickly makes his way back into the top 10.
Honestly, we are still only guessing because the weather can change at any moment. So at one point, we might all go back to the wets. So, oh, what's happened there? Venezuela. McAllister made it through.
And Vella into the pits now.
He's also still on the wets.
Yep. So Cooper McAllister has been through the pits twice. He's still on wet tyres. I believe one of them will have been a drive-through penalty. But such a shame for him. Qualified well, and then it's unfortunately on the wrong tyre, and changed back to the wrong tyre. Unfortunately, has to be said. In terms of Daniel Benton-Reader right behind Lorenzo Turi, very close through the final turn. These two running at a very similar pace right now, but again, Turi's been able to pull away down the main straight. So just a 10th between them on that last lap in terms of pace. Well, Pascal Polens, ominously 129.6. Running in 5th now after his stop. So he's going to be in prime position to try and hopefully undercut, but who knows when these intermediate tyres are going to hit. Because, by the time they go in for their first stop, Pascal Polens' tyres might already starting being words have failed me. His tyres already might be starting to go off. So we'll have to see. Wait to see. Benton-Reader can line up a move on Turi. Turi's had a very solid race so far, it has to be said. Benton-Reader closed up very quickly there.
Yeah, it looked like Turi went a little deep into Crocodile. Oh, that was a little deep as well by Benton-Reader.
Love taking that risk over the exit of Cheetah.
Yeah, but we've seen it produce a purple sector time in qualifying as well, so...
Brilliant. Denny Vella started 6th. He's leading the race. Max Riedmuller 2nd, holding station. Turi starting 10th. In 3rd. Benton Reader 8th, up in 4th. Very solid drives from that top 4, but Pascal Poland's now on Inters. The early pace setter is a big snap. Well held from Benton Reader.
That was scary. That was so close to a race-ending incident.
Walborn sets the fastest lap. Those Team Holland cars are not out of it yet. They are so good on raw pace. Join this battle of 3 cars down in 6th, Pushka, Hess and Von Wendt. I think we just saw a change there. I think Hess may have just gotten past Von Wendt.
I'm not too sure about it either, but I think you might be right.
Lucas Murno now up to 11th, having stopped earlier and is on the Inters. Now 3 DNFs, so both the Streamline cars sadly out again. I always go for a replay. Going to be the move. This is what happened to Von Wendt, and he's just had a bit of a spin up of the rears on the exit of Barbecue. He's lost 2 places there, unfortunate, but at least he's still going. That's the important thing. When you have a slap like that, you can, really let it go out of control and end up in the wall. At least he's still going. He's got a chance to correct it now. It's Fournier.
Yeah, he's lost it again. Oh yeah.
Oh. Well, there's a first example of commentators cursing the WMSC. Just keep it out the wall, you'll be fine. And a few seconds later, John Von Wendt is in the wall. He's just going to have to try and crawl back. We've yet to have, in basically an entire race and these 19 laps, a safety car or a slow zone. We've had yellow flags. So we'll see, but in a minute, Von Wendt is keeping it going carefully.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for him. He made up a lot of spots as well. He started in 11th. He was up to 6th there at one point. Now he has to change his front wing as well.
Geoffrey Fournier has finally gone in for his first stop, and he's decided to stick with the wets. He is now the only wet weather tyre runner out there. Everyone else has retired at this point that was on wets. So Curtis, Reeve and Smith. But yeah, Fournier has stopped and has decided to stick with the wets. Everyone now on the Inters. Cooper McAllister down in 14th has been in the pits 3 times, unfortunately. And Yannis Walborn twice.
Mullins is on the back of Benton Reader already.
He's absolutely flown up to the back of them, and that's a really interesting that last lap he did a 1:30.2. Turry and Benton Reader are doing 1:32s. He's 2 seconds quicker at the minute. While Yannis Walborn is in the 1:29.9s. That's not even his fastest time. The Team Holland cars are coming, and you have to think, do Denny Vella and Max Reed-Butler know about it? Because they may have to react in terms of when they go in for their stop. Got a good exit. 13 Poland's right over the back of Benton Reed. He's going to have to hold off now. I imagine he's going to wait and try and line up for turn 2.
And we've seen how fast their car is on a straight line, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't manage to get past him.
Obviously no DRS in the wet. This is all pure straight line speed. He pulls out. Defensive manoeuvre from Benton Reader. It's incredibly defensive, but they move back over onto the racing line. Benton Reader gets a little bit sideways. They tap, but the move is done.
I thought for 1 second that Benton Reader might spin into Poland's, but well held there.
Appreciate the effort to defend, but also appreciate that he knew exactly when to give it up. Great move, Pascal Poland's. And he's up to 4th.
Oh, another Team Holland car.
Straight line speed coming into its own. He's gone deep. Seifert with the switchback.
Well done.
Excellent bit of racing. So, Wallborn now got another straight here. Is he going to try and look around the outside of Sunset to try and be on the inside for Clubhouse?
That's a
So he
bit
goes to
more
the inside.
risky.
He has a look on the inside. Why on earth they would try and have a look there? I'm not sure. Desperate to get past. You can tell he's got that. He's the fastest man on track at the minute. He just wants to get back up to the top end. Remember, his top eight.
He lost so much time with that stop to the super soft tire in lap 14. So he's even more to. Oh, that looked like he went a little bit sideways as well. So he has a lot more to climb up the ladder than his teammate Poland's does. He's already in 4th. Wallborn only 9th.
Benton Reader is stopping now. I've at least seen that as the moment to try and make his change. So Wallborn might be about to pick up another spot, but he's going to have another go at Seifert now. He's got a poor exit, though, it has to be said. He's going to be coming from quite a way back if he's going to get the move done. But he's going to go for it. He slams on the brakes. It's a little bit sideways on entry, holds it. And that's a brilliant move from Yannis Wallborn. Excellent bit of racing. Very well done indeed.
Yeah, this time he also blocked like the inside line so that the switchback isn't possible this time around for Seifert.
Learned from his mistakes there. Absolutely brilliant. Benton Reader has just filtered out back in front. So it'll be interesting to see what Benton Reader can do now on fresher inters compared to Wallborn. While Poland's is already on the back of Turi, who has been racing on these for 22 laps since the start of the race. That top three have got to be thinking about when they're going in for their stops now, surely. Lapping in between the mid to high
Weller in the pits, sorry.
32s. Oh, Weller is in the pits. There we go. That is the decision. Right decision. Reid Muller takes the lead of the race. Turi and Poland's go past. Poland's be making a move into turn 1 on Turi. Not quite close enough this time. What he do? He darts out. Wow. He definitely must feel a lot more confident on the brakes than Turi, because usual circumstances, you wouldn't think of making a move from there. But Turi clearly having to be a little bit softer and gentler on the brakes with his tyres. And Poland's just reacts well, darts out, move done, and they are flying. And Poland's now surely going to re-inherit the lead from Max Reid Muller. The question is, when's Reid Muller going to go in as well? Weller has managed to filter back out into 4th. So he's going to be looking to get on the undercut of Reid Muller. In the meantime, Philip Pushka, our race winner last time out, who flew under the radar for large parts. One stop on the inters, he's up to 5th. And running
he's
quite
doing
nicely.
it again.
He's just
remained pretty much under our radar, so watch him.
just keep an eye on him. Completely unremarkable. But he's always in there at the right point, at the right time.
Short update maybe on Jörn von Wendt. Unfortunately, he retired his car after that incident we've seen.
That's a shame.
He's our 4th retirement of the day.
So Turi has dived into the pits. That overtake for him similarly has been enough. He's like, yep, now is time to change. Pushka is just going to come out. Oh, this is going to be close into turn 1. Turi on the inside. Old tyres. Is Pushka going to try and hang around the outside? Benton Reid is there as well. Turi holds on. How confident is Turi going to be, though, on those fresh tyres? Benton Reid having a little look at Pushka. But they hold station for now.
Well done by Lorenzo. That was so important to not lose any time behind those two. Because look at how fast he's pulling away already.
He's immediately lighting up those tyres. Very good indeed. Benson Reader is looking quicker. The last lap for Pushka was 2 seconds slower than Benson Reader, so Benson Reader is going to be desperate to get by. A little bit of car just pushes wide a little bit there for Pushka. Just behind them they have a charging Yanis Walborn, but he's going to be joining this fight very soon as well. I'm sure Daniel Benson Reader is going to want to clear Philip Pushka. Oof, and he goes very, very extreme inside of Cheetah. Just catching a bit of oversteer on exit, and that's been a poor exit, so I think Pushka's probably going to survive this time around. Both of these drivers have stopped once so far. There is Yanis Walborn. He's going to be right on them in this next lap. Walborn lapping 1 minute 32s. That was 1 minute 34 for both Benton Reader and Pushka. Fastest man on track right now is Denny Bella in third, 1 minute 30.9. He's going to be looking to try and close the gap to Pascal Polens.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and I suppose, I don't know if Weller might be able to make it to the end, but Polens, I think very certainly he won't be able to make it. He stopped in lap 15. That's a bit earlier, seeing when the others pulled in for their first pit stop, the ones that started on the intermediate. It was like lap 24-ish, about that.
I'd be surprised if they're going to try and extend. Well, I suppose they could. I'd imagine many going for a second stop if, and this is a big if, conditions stay the same, because there's no guarantee that they will. In the meantime, Benson Reader climbing all over the back, but Pushka into the pits.
And that's Pushka's second stop already.
That is interesting. I wasn't expecting him to stop yet. Here we go, back out on the inters, and he's just decided to get a fresh set. Or is he going to try and extend those to the end of the race? We will see.
I think one thing we can certainly say at this point about strategy already is that Riedmüller is probably trying to get this race done with only one pit stop. He's really extending his first stint. Still running.
He's in the high 1 minute 33s at the minute, so Polens is going to be on him in absolutely no time. But, like I say, if it is the case of knowing that Walborn going a bit, looked like he was going a bit the extreme side of the track there, sorry, but yeah, if it looks like Polens is going to need to stop again because he's running hard, and then in goes Riedmüller as we speak of it. His first stop, lap 26. Pascal Polens into the lead. Very strong race from him so far for Maniti Racing. Remember rightly, neither Maniti car. I think there was only one Maniti car last time out. No, there were two, sorry, but I think we didn't see any of them.
Yeah, they were pretty much running under our radar. But as we said before, they have a high downforce car, and this track and, of course, these conditions might suit them a lot better than a dry Melbourne.
And he's filtered back into third ahead of Lorenzo Turi. It will be interesting to see how their pace compares. Turi not long since stopped himself, so both on relatively fresh intermediate tyres. See how well they run.
Extending that first stint has cost Riedmüller about 7 seconds to Weller. So let's see if he can make them up again.
All very interesting, because obviously we've got some people that started on the inters, some that have started on the wets and moved to the inters, and it's all, no one's really on like quite the same strategy. So it's still quite hard to work out how this is going to shake out towards the end. Benton Reader, the back of Yanis Walborn. Walborn was on a charge, but I imagine those Inters are going to be a little bit worse for wear now. Still set the fastest lap of the race so far. We'll see. Come round to turn 1. Oh, and Benton Reader on the curbs. Tries to get the power down. That's always a bit of a risk. But again, he saves. He's had a couple of saves today, but he's at least still going. And Walborn has a little bit of a breather now. Roy Seifert in the background, maybe have a look, causing some problems for Benton Reader. Solid debut from him after missing round 1.
Yeah, he's doing really well, Roy Seifert. Right now, interestingly, Riedmüller isn't really able to cut that gap between himself and Danny Weller. Just as I speak about it, it dropped like half a second. Now it's up to 8.1 again.
Yeah, the last time from Riedmüller, I imagine, unless that was an outlap, because it's a 1 minute 35, that is a long way off where everyone is, or where the faster cars are, in like the 131s. So we'll see this.
I believe it was an outlap. He stopped in lap 26, so...
Maybe he had a bit of an incident just trying to get the tyres up to temps, I'm not sure, but he's... That last lap was much better, 1 minute 32.3, that was half a second quicker than Bella. Seifert slow.
Living on the edge there.
Someone wants to avoid a pit lane speeding penalty, I would say. And he goes, dropping out of the points. And just a reminder, it is the top 8 that score points. But interestingly, the top 10 that win more virtual budget for car development. So even if Seifert doesn't get any points, his 9th place finish would very much be welcomed if that is where he finishes, as it would bring more development money for Scuderia Cesario.
Look who's into the top 10 again. Lucas Murno running silently there in 10th. Infernal Void Racing also welcoming that budget as well, of course. That would be great if that young team can finish in the top 10 here.
They've brought a little downforce update to this race as well, which will be helpful in these conditions.
Poland's into the pit lane.
Oh, interesting.
That's a very interesting development.
He last stopped on lap 15, so he's done 15 laps on the wet tyre, then another 15 laps on the Inters. This again suggests the same issue we've had with Holland Racing Team, that they are lightning fast, but the tyre management is just not there. Because surely he can't be doing this entire... Oh, and Walborn is in as well.
That's already his 3rd stop.
And that again is in 15 lap intervals. So yes, okay, he stopped on lap 14 for the Super Softs, which was a failed experiment. But then, lap 15 for Inters, lap 30 for Inters again. Exactly the same. They're both incredibly quick, but there is no way they're going to get to the very top in 15 lap bursts with these tyres.
And now he's behind Turi, and he was pretty fast as well on his new Inters. So he might even lose some time there as well. Because I don't think Turi will be too easy to pass.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. I know that obviously Weller and Riedmüller will have to stop again, but...
I'm not too sure about Riedmüller though. He was running very long his first stint. If he just extends it by a couple more laps...
Yeah, mate. Yeah, this is the thing. I think if we continue on this amount... Oh dear. Hey. If we continue on this amount, they're going to need at least another 2 pit stops, Pascal Polands and Janis Walborn, and that's just surely not viable, no matter how quickly he clears Turi now, or no matter how many other stops the guys have, unless they suddenly decide they want to stop every 15 laps, which I highly doubt, as Turi gets a bit sideways on the exit of 2. Under pressure now from the charging Polands. He's going to be looking to line up surely through sunset. Let's hold it nice, backs off, brakes a bit earlier. Excellent car control from everyone involved here. It really is. Very wet conditions. Correcting every little twitch and every little stab of oversteer. 1, 2, just going a little bit deep into the hairpin. Both are getting a little bit of snap of oversteer on the exit under power.
I think that deep line for Turi actually worked better than that very, very close to the apex line by Polands.
Going to be a really important final corner here for Polands. He needs to line up to get a good exit. I think Turi's just had a slightly better one there, and he's going to be able to just defend in the speed.
Yeah, and the Cesario is very fast on a straight line as well, as it seems here. Because he didn't really get closer to the back of Turi there.
No.
That's not good for Poland's race at all. The longer he stuck behind the Turi, the worse it looks for his ambitions to win this race. And of course, you said it. I mean, they could just get it done with one more stop, but then they need to extend both of their final stints now, so this one and the next one, by a couple of laps to make it to lap 67. Otherwise, they have to stop very late in the race as well. I don't think they want to do that.
No, absolutely not.
Once again, different lines through Lukop, but once again, I am under the impression that Turi's line works a bit better than Poland's one.
Oh, but has Turi got a little bit deep there into Crocodiles? He's having to get really defensive. Needs to nail the exit of Ingwe now. This has to be a good run. And Poland's right up the back. Both get the power down on the main straight.
Oh, Turi had a little bit of a moment there, I think.
Or did he do that on purpose to try and get out of the slipstream? I'm not sure, because it seems like he's okay. Oh, but no, he's not.
That is very deep. It's too deep.
Yeah. Appreciate
worth a try, though.
Yeah. Well, worth a go. Saw the opportunity. Yeah, I feel Turi maybe just ducked to the side to try and break the slipstream, but Poland's thought, I'm still going to give it a go. Didn't quite work, but that must be showing that he's getting frustrated behind him there. He must want to just get past.
Yeah, sure.
Now, interesting update. Rain on the timing screen has just updated to 100%. Alexander Hess is back on the wets. Jeffrey Fournier is on the wets. Rene Vella is on the wets. Is the situation in this race about to change as we approach the halfway point? Are we all of a sudden going to see the heavens truly open at Kyalami? Once again, another lap of Polands is right over the back of Turi. Again, it's all about the exit. Polands,
he spins!
Last minute decision to, for some reason, go to the outside of Turi. Oh, dear me, and that's cost him a lot of time.
I don't think that was deliberate. I think there was something I tried to catch there. It looked very odd, though.
Yeah, I can't tell if that was it squirming under braking, or was it a decision, because I imagine he wouldn't have wanted to try and be on the inside on the entry to Ingwe, because that would have absolutely compromised his exit. So, yeah, he's managed to keep it on, though. I mean, he's saved it, and he's already right on the back of Turi again. Wow, what a moment.
I mean, that shows very well how much quicker Poland's could go.
Now, someone has just asked in chat about, is there a table with all the stops? And you can see the amount of times people have stopped. Pascal Poland's twice. He's stopped on lap 15 and lap 30. He's been incredibly quick, but seemingly burning through his tyres. Walborn, it says Walborn's only stopped once on that graphic, but that is actually incorrect. He has stopped 3 times. He stopped on lap 14 to try the super softs, which didn't quite work. Then has done essentially the same as his teammate, 15 laps on inters before stopping again. Now they close right up to the back. Pascal Poland's on Lorenzo Turi. Again, just a slightly better getaway from the corner. And Turi survives another lap. Again, Poland is looking to try and take a slightly shallower angle into there. Maybe just try and get Turi thinking. But Turi's unmoved by that.
Turi's really keeping it cool. I mean, he's doing very well in this situation here.
Absolutely he is. Poland is having to try and get more and more creative to get past, and Turi is just, well, you do what you need to. He's just going to try and keep it on the road. Taking his line lap after lap, and Poland's getting a little bit sideways through Clubhouse. The frustration must be building.
And that all helps Danny Weller and Reed Muller at the top. They're actually building a gap to these two.
Yeah, Weller and Reed Muller are just holding quite steadily at 2 seconds apart, but then there's now 10 seconds back to these two. As another snap there. Ran for another lap, and Poland's climbing over the back of Turi. He's going to go into the shallow. Oh no!
But
another move at England. I'm sorry, that was way too ambitious there. Unfortunately, I don't think that was ever going to work. Turi was already taking the corner normally.
Yeah, and luckily nothing worse happened. That could have very well been a very different situation. With
That could have been
spinning
both of them
Turi
out.
around. Yeah, indeed.
The rain still being reported as 100%, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the Inter guys too much. The highest running driver on the wet tyres is Alexander Hess for SCMM. And he's lapping at about the same pace. So maybe it's a case of now the wets are just starting to align again. Question is, when will they tip? Will they tip? And again, wow, the differences in terms of attacking the corners at the minute. There's some very interesting, different closing speeds. Remarkable that they're still racing.
Yeah. And I mean, if the Inters do dip, that's even worse for Poland's, because he's done a stop more than everyone else there up front.
Again, he got a little bit shaky on exit Crocodiles there, and Philip Feckler with a penalty, and Poland's diving deep. And that was a penalty not given out by the game. Just had word from the race director. That was entering the pits and not crossing the line. So that will be on the pit entry line, I imagine. He's not stayed to the left of that, and he's just crossed it at the last minute. So, unfortunately, he's the last car running, 14th, but he now has a penalty to serve. Yeah, Poland's again trying some experimental moves into the final turning way. He's just getting frustrated. He's trying to run almost akin to what Benetton did in the mid-90s with their 3-stop races, stop more but just be rapid every single time. But all falls down if you have a roadblock on track. And the gap is up to 13 seconds between Turi and the leader. This is really ruining Pascal Polens' race. And in the meantime, Yannis Volborn is running 6th and also not making as rapid a progress as before.
Yeah, just a short correction on the that we just got from race direction on the penalty for Fekla. It was actually for exiting the pits, not for entering it. So they just given us the wrong call at the beginning, so they've just corrected that. And Fekla already served that penalty, and once again he tries it. But I don't think this is ever going to work.
It's a very strange strategy, and I'm not sure why he's persisting with it, because the only way he's going to get through doing something like that, I don't think he's going to get through. I think he's going to end up in a crash that ends someone's race. So I know he's getting frustrated, but he's got to run now. He's got to hold it through. Barbecue just keeps it in, allows enough space for Turi. He chops ahead. And he managed to get back on the racing line for Clubhouse. And wow, he had to get creative. Absolutely. It was that creativity was starting to run out. But then out of nowhere, he just catches Lorenzo Turi unaware through Jutski sweep. And he's through. Love to see that again. I don't know if it was Turi caught off guard. Maybe he got some issues with traction. So Poland's pounced. But he's through. And that's, after some slightly dubious moves, hats off to Pascal Polens for that one. That was a good move.
Yeah, it really was. This was the type of creativity he needed.
Here we go. There's a chance to see it again. So, through Crowthorne. Both with a similar amount. There's a little bit of a twitch from Turi. But he just dives to the inside, compromises his line, leaves just enough room. That's a fine move through Jutski sweep. You won't see many moves through there today, I don't think.
But it's another great indicator on how much more grip Polens had there compared to Turi. Oh, and look at this. Just above 1 second, the gap between Weller and Riedmüller.
Very interesting. So the last lap, Riedmüller was 0.7 of a second faster than Vella. So is this going to be a tyre issue? Vella stopped on lap 23. Riedmüller, lap 26. Now they're on a similar setup. So Riedmüller just turning up the pace a little bit. There is a chance, like you said, Riedmüller might try and extend and just one-stop the race. But maybe he's think he can go a little bit more attacking at this phase.
Yeah, I think this is... Both are not in the greatest run. I mean, for Weller, it would definitely work with the two-stop. But if Riedmüller really wants to just do one-stop, his first stop might have been a little too early.
Maybe he's thrown that plan out now, because at the minute the gap is coming down quite rapidly. He seems to be on a push now. That's come down very quickly indeed. 0.8 of a second faster than the leader on that lap.
Another bit of great racing here in the WMSC. I mean, we've just seen one battle resolved, and then the next one is just coming up here, and it's for the race lead even. That is absolutely fantastic.
It's been another really interesting race, and it's been full of action and really good racing as well, which is it's great to see. There was some early phases where I think everyone was kind of a little bit scared to make moves, and there was just trying to figure out the conditions. But once everyone's settled in, the racing has kicked up again, and once again, we still have a number of drivers who could take the win here today.
Yeah, and still 27 laps to go once we finish this one, so there is a lot of action still to come, I'm sure.
Absolutely, there is. So Philip Veckler is in the pits again. Just in the background, he might come out in front of this battle. And the final corner we go. So can Reed Muller line something up here? A high downforce Maniti Racing car. They both clear Veckler, so he's not going to be an issue. We come down to the braking zone of Crowthorne. Losing speed again. He's not close enough to make the move, but he's right with him. In the meantime, Poland's now freed, has brought the gap down to 12 seconds. He's lapping about a second a lap quicker, which is impressive. But let's see if he needs to stop in 4 laps' time, because if that is if he's continuing that pattern, that is exactly what we're going to see. He is the fastest man on track, Pascal Polens, at the minute. Second fastest man on track, Yannis Walborn. Both the Team Holland cars. Question is it going to yield more stops for them?
Yeah, I would be very surprised to see them go to the end. I think that's nearly impossible from what we've seen so far.
Reed Muller. Right on the back of Vella. Again, it's all about trying to line up. Good exit of Ingwe. A little bit messy through that final sector. Stayed with him. Vella, the power, he just speeds away there. Interestingly, the Better Julia design philosophy is also a very high downforce car, so both cars very suited to these conditions and this track. And they brought Better Julia a little upgrade for straight line speed to this race. And at the minute, it seems to be the difference. Vella just keeping himself ahead.
This is, of course, the issue if you have a high downforce car that is not as quick on the straights, that you have to get pretty creative, especially in situations like these. So if you lead, everything is fine, but as soon as you're following someone, not as easy to pull a move.
A constant eye back to Pascal Polens as he shuts the gap down. It's absolutely flying. In the meantime, Walborn is also closing in on Benton Reader. Reed Muller just a little bit sideways from Vella, but Vella will just straighten up, power down, and he's pretty safe. Vella is doing a solid job. Been a race leader in both of our events so far. Can he convert today for his first win? Ended up finishing 4th in the end back in Australia. In the meantime, Max Reed Muller wasn't even there, but doing an excellent job. Maniti Racing.
Speaking about the last race, Pushka, our race winner in Australia, he's now only in 7th. So 14 seconds down on Walborn. So this track surely not suiting him or his car as well as Melbourne.
No, we were surprised that the Epic Basilia team were as competitive as they were. Both Pushka and Fournier had a good result, but both of them struggling today. Fournier down in 12th, running on the wets. Good to see Cooper McAllister has kept going back in 11th. He's Fistel got a shot at a top 10, but he's going to have to try and catch Lucas Murno if he wants to do it. Meantime, Alexander Hess remains the only car in the top 10 on wet tyres. His pace is 134.7. In comparison, our leader just did a 133.6, so it's still not quite there. It's again, just the panic to get stopped, and in comes Daniel Benton-Reader. This will be a second stop for Benton-Reader.
Yeah, Benton-Reader, one of these of the guys that started on the Inters already. He was the first one in lap 22 to make his first stop for new Inters, and now he's the first one to do his second stop for new Inters. So maybe we might see Weller and Riedmüller follow very, very soon.
Very interesting indeed.
Benton-Reader, by the way, he is on a perfectly synced to the race length strategy. He made his first stop in lap 22, now lap 44. So he might just make it to the end now.
I mean, I'd hope he's not going to stop on lap 66 just for consistency, but yeah, I imagine that's his last stop now. So we'll have to see how his times are on these new tyres and see how he runs to the end. We are in that window now that it is possible that wow, need to get the power down.
I think that's the second time this happened to him, right? He might need some new pens after this race.
I think it might be more than the second. I think he's had quite a few saves throughout. Here we go. He's still going. Oh, he's clearly very keen to get past Philip Pushka. He has been on those tyres for quite a while and might be due a stop himself anytime soon. But at the minute, he's just costing himself time, Daniel Benton-Reader, so he just needs to calm it down, and then I'm sure he'll get past very soon indeed.
Oh, he seems really on the edge there. He's really trying his hardest.
I think it's the fact that Yannis Waldborn was catching him before the stop. Is he thinking, I need to be as quick as I can now to make sure that I get back out ahead of Waldborn? He might have even been targeting trying to get ahead of Turi for when he next stops.
Weller in the pit lane from the race lead.
This is it. Here we go now. And Benton-Reader just overcooking it there on the exit of the S's. This is going to be a very, very interesting stop indeed. And has Denny Vella just gone on to wet tyres? He has.
Yes. Okay.
So it has been saying on the timing screen that rain is 100% for a while, and it's not really affected that many. But maybe this is one of the reasons why Benton-Reader's struggling, his teammates, because actually he's come out on these tyres and it's like, ooh, don't know how I feel about this now. Still trying to get past Pushka.
But this is very interesting. It seems like kind of a big gamble, considering he was leading this race. Because I haven't seen the others that were on the wets the entire time. They didn't seem too quick. There goes Benton-Reader.
To make the same sort of move that Poland's did, but doesn't quite. Now, would you like to know a piece of information that actually may go in against Denny Vella now? Because I've been saying for ages now, rain is at 100% on the timing screen. It is now dropped to 50%. And Denny Vella has just come out on the wet tyres. Max Riedmüller is in. What is he going to do? This could be really indicative of what happens next with this race. Something of an underdog amongst all this. Maniti Racing and Riedmüller not expected beforehand for the race win.
Inters.
He's back on the Inters. Who has made the right decision? Pascal Polens re-inherits the lead of the race. He's running on Inters for more than 15 laps for the first time this race, but surely he's just going to try and extend this. So now everyone's into the territory where, radical weather changes aside, everyone should be in for their last stops around about now.
The Weller's outlet can't have been too bad, because he came out ahead of Reed Miller still.
But he's clearly not struggling. We'll have to see how it goes.
Benton Reed, on the other hand, now against Pushka.
Forced to the outside. Tries to sweep round. It's very respectful. Excellent move round the outside of Crowthorne from Daniel Benton-Reeder. Always a danger of touching wheels there as the pass goes around the apex, but beautiful bit of racing from both of them. Good move. He seems to be reining in those Inters now.
Weller is pulling away from Reed Miller for now, but there is a bit of a gap building. They were way closer when Reed Miller came out of the pits.
And we've got a back marker in the way that might cause some issues now. Let's see what the gap is. Again, dives out the way. Lorenzo Turi is in. Walborn is in.
Yeah, so I'd expect Polens to come in the next lap, or maybe one after. But he now has, of course, the advantage to watch what Weller and Reed Miller are doing on their respective tyres, and then make a decision based on that.
So Weller is the only man so far to go with wet tyres in this top pack. Is it a genius decision? At the minute, Denny Weller lapping at a 1 minute 31.6. Daniel Benton-Reeder on the Inters, though, is also lapping at a 1 minute 31.6. So at the minute, the track just seems to be in the window where you can run both. And we kind of had this earlier in the race, at the very beginning, in fact, where it was negligible to which tyre was the better. And now it seems to be back in the window where you could run whichever one, I suppose, you feel more comfortable on.
It's really a guessing game now as to how the weather develops. Polens into the pit lane now for surely his final stop now.
Everyone's going to be hoping the weather sort of holds station now, and this is it. He's
and
also
these
on
are
the Inters.
intermediate tyres.
So, Denny Weller, the gap was down to 0.7 of a second before he peeled off and went into the pits ahead of Max Riedmuller. He's come out on the full wets, and the gap is at 2.2 seconds. He's the only person to have gone on full wets. But so far, it seems like the right decision. His last lap was half a second quicker than Max Riedmuller's. The person to watch out for is going to be Pascal Polens, because he's had incredible pace throughout, and he's in clear air. So he still might be a factor. It's just how long in this thing can he run those tyres hard for?
Yeah, absolutely. He could still win this race. If his pace just keeps on being as quick as it was, he can close that gap.
For the second race in a row, we have a front two cars and then essentially a charging Team Holland car, seeing if they can burn through their tyres and burn through a gap before the end. There is substantially more time and less of a gap this time around for Polens. But those tyres, I don't think, are as durable. We will see. But Denny Weller He was, very strong performance back in Australia. Qualified 6th today, but started crucially on the intermediate tyre. Brilliant drive, and is now seemingly on a good tyre for the end of the race. Philip Pushka, winner from last time, in the pits. Got Fournier behind them, and they're double stacking an Epic Basilia. Sorry. I do apologise. And Fournier sticking with the wets. I think he stayed on the wets for most of the race, Fournier.
Yeah, Fournier, he didn't run on the inters at all.
Comes Murno.
He's been on that blue tyre.
This is going to be interesting. The fight for the last money position, if you like, in terms of the top 10 for constructors. Murno's going to come out. Cooper McAllister is going to try and chase him down. Murno on the inters. McAllister also on the inters. So that'll be interesting. It'll be for the development of their car over the year. And Yannis Walborn is on the back of Lorenzo Turi.
Turi against another Team Holland Racing car.
And again, they love absolutely throwing it into that final turn, don't they?
Let's see how long it takes Walborn to get past Turi.
So when was the last time Lorenzo Turi stopped? Has he stopped again recently? I think he has. He has. 2 stops.
I
think it was only
missed that. Yeah.
I think there was a flurry of activity. I think it was like a couple of laps ago. So yeah, they're both on relatively fresh tyres at this point. I'm interested to see how it goes. Turi, really good. After qualifying 10th, has driven very well today. Walborn is right behind him. You run through the S's. Walborn out over the curves, though. Overcooks it just.
Both Team Holland drivers really on the edge, pretty much the entire race.
Got a little bit of work to do to try and close that gap up to Turi again. Oh, but at the front, Max Riedmuller is now only half a second away from Denny Vella. He's shutting the gap, and Denny Vella, 1 minute 33 his last lap. Max Riedmuller on a 1 minute 31.5 has the track just developed away from the wet tyre.
Oh, that would be so unfortunate. Brave to take that gamble, but it could have... the pendulum can still swing the other way. We've seen how often it changed throughout the race.
Riedmuller now seems to be in the box seat.
Poland's did catch up a bit, but not by too much, actually.
Poland's and Riedmuller are doing similar lap times at the moment. Might be a commentator's curse from chat, as someone said a few minutes ago. Denny could actually win a race at Kyalami thanks to the rain. Well, has the rain just screwed up that plan? Not over yet. Riedmuller's got to get the move done. The track can still develop the other way. Let's see where this goes. Riedmuller is looking very racy indeed.
He is, and I think he can just bide his time to wait for the right moment if the track really develops in his favor. Not risk too much, but also, of course, don't lose too much time. For now, it still looks fine with the gap to Poland's.
I think it's quite encouraging that obviously Poland is not rapidly hunting them down. So Riedmuller is not under too much pressure yet to make the move as Walborn is past Lorenzo Turi. Oh, and they're side by side still. Oh, and Walborn has gone deep into Barbecue, that would have been. And Turi's just been able to come out the other side. Try and get that back in a minute and see what happened there. But otherwise, they hold station. And it is very much round two between these two. Well, say these two, between Turi and an orange car, basically.
Yeah, one does not simply pass Lorenzo Turi, especially not if they're driving a Team Holland car.
So this might be what happened. So it starts all the way back in turn one. Turi again going over to the side to try and stay out the slipstream, being incredibly defensive, but Walborn tries to get the traction around the outside and does so. Pretty much has the move done, but then just overcooks it on the exit. Just managed to keep it online. That would have been move done. Turi had much the better run through Barbecue, and at the minute, he's still holding the position. This again right on the back at Ingwe, but this is where the straight line speed of the Team Holland car may come in. He's right behind him. Which way is Turi's going to go? He's going to go to the inside by the looks of it, and it's going to be a repeat of what we've just seen. He's going to try to sweep around with this contact, and they've hit. Walborn manages to hang on.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
Oh, but he's going to try and dump on the inside, same place, but no, it's a switchback. Turi holds it.
Turi has learned his lesson. Incredible.
But he's going to dip for the inside. Oh, my word. Both of the Holland team racing guys have the same playbook. He's going to dive for the inside of Clubhouse. But that's too deep. But then there's traction issues for Turi. So they're going to go side by side through the S's now. But Turi dives out. And, oh, wow. And Benton Reeder's there now. Watch out for Daniel Benton Reeder. There they are. Well. What an incredible few corners of action that was.
Incredible that they're both still going. That was really tense. They made contact there multiple times. Also in the first move that we've just seen the replay, there was a lot of contact there. But
I think
almost
Walborn is
miraculously.
Slightly lucky not to have caused an accident there. A couple of the moves afterwards, very good indeed. But yeah, the initial contact through turn two, I should say, was a little bit naughty.
Yeah, I don't think that there will be any penalties or give the place back calls, but I could imagine that Race Direction does want to have a word with them.
Yes, I'd say that was straying the other side of the line.
Yeah, it really was, but by both of them. Oh, Benton Reeder once again.
He loves showboating, doesn't he, Daniel Benton Reeder? I'm going to do the race sideways or not at all, and he's absolutely flying through.
And again. Yeah, at one point I stopped worrying about him. He's catched it so often. At one point, you might wonder is he doing this on purpose, maybe even because. Oh no!
Just a little bit deep into Leah Kopp. You know, a day will come where Daniel Benton Reeder is going like the normal direction through a corner, and that will concern me because I'm so used to seeing it. In the meantime, Max Riedmuller is now still right over the back of Denny Vella. All this time they've been close together. He's just been unable to make something happen.
Poland's now 1.5 seconds closer than last time we checked. So, yeah, I don't think, unless something that we don't expect happens, I don't think Poland's will have a word in this battle here.
No, I feel unless they really start to scrap and hold each other up.
Yeah, and of course, the longer this goes, or the longer the stint goes, the slower Poland's will get, because we know now how hard the Team Holland car is on these tires.
Yeah, I think this is also one of the reasons why maybe Max Riedmuller is not being too aggressive in his moves. I don't think he wants to slow them up. He wants to take a
now
moment.
this might be his opportunity.
Just as I say that, Weller gets a little bit shaky on exit, so has an opportunity presented itself right now. Follows through nicely. He's right on the back axle of Denny Weller's car. What's the situation with the straight line speed? Both high downforce cars, they stay together. Is Riedmuller going to pull out from the slipstream? They're in the middle of the track. He goes to the inside, but backs out and thinks better of it. He's still got time. He's not going to risk anything yet.
And that has brought Poland's a lot closer as they're side by side towards sunset, round the outside. Unusual spot to make a move, but it works for Riedmuller. Brilliantly done. Danny Weller knows when to concede the position, and he does that brilliantly.
Excellent stuff from Max Riedmuller. Didn't force the issue, bided his time. The opportunity was there, and it came couple in quick succession, and he's got the move done. And already up by a few tenths. And Weller. I feel like Weller knows he's struggling on these tyres, or maybe having to work quite hard to get these tyres performing the way he wants them to.
You might wonder if it makes sense for Weller to go into the pits and secure third, because I don't think what we've seen right now that can hold Poland's behind.
Poland's is going to be a lot more direct in his methods, as we know.
Yeah, we know that.
Here comes the crucial battle for 10th in terms of the constructors and that development fund. Cooper McAllister has caught Lucas Murno. Murno on the slightly fresher tyres. Interesting day for SCMM. They were up the front for large parts. Hess and the usual driver Moritz Kropp both leading at different points. Kropp was unfortunate, had a bit of collision with a back marker, so only ended up finishing 8th. Hess finishing 2nd. But they were at the sharp end, and today they unfortunately are not. They brought big updates for straight line speed, and that hasn't really helped them today. They're kind of a balanced car design. Kropp unfortunately unable to race today, so McAllister has stepped in. And both Hess and McAllister have been kind of, decent performances for their car, but they've struggled, and they've not been able to do it.
Yeah, I think they also collected a penalty, or McAllister at least, so I think that didn't help them, certainly. And I don't think their car is really suited that much for Kyalami and the conditions here as well. So maybe Bahrain is more of their cup of tea. I think we can expect them to be at the sharp end once again. It's more of an issue of damage limitation here.
I think so. I think so too. Yeah, I almost forgot about Cooper McAllister's penalty from early, which we believe, I think, was for pit lane speeding. But yes, imagine how he'd done without it.
Okay, very interesting thing that I've been told by Race Direction is that Yannis Woolborn has received a reprimand for the driving against Turi, for the battle we've seen earlier, and we've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he will keep that reprimand for the next races, so he will be, or the Race Direction will watch closely on how he will behave in future races and battles on track.
Very interesting. I think that's the right call as well. As you said before, I don't think it was the case if he needed to give the place back, but I do think some of his behaviour during that battle was a little bit over the line. So I think that's a good decision, and hopefully that makes him consider his moves going forward. I'm sure Lorenzo Turi won't be particularly happy about that. I'm sure he would have preferred it to be the other way around. But yeah, I feel like that's the right call from race direction on this one.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you.
Pascal Pones, in the meantime, trying to rein in Denny Vella. He's still targeting a potential race win here, or is this the sum total of his ambitions for today? Max Riedmüller has just put in a 1 minute 30.8. We've not seen 1 minute 30s in a while, so he's driving very well indeed. He might just have enough in reserve to be able to keep Poland at bay. But once again, it is a race against time for Pascal Poland to clear. And it is Denny Vella this time in his way. Well, if nothing from what we've seen throughout the race so far, this should be interesting. Vella is going to be okay on these wets to the end of the race. I think the gap back to Volborn is substantial enough. Question is, how hard is he going to try and defend his second place?
I don't know if it makes sense to defend too much and to maybe even risk a collision. We've seen the Holland Racing Team boys being very aggressive today. So he may be better off just keeping that third.
Very true. As Pascal goes to the outside, Vingwe. That's quite a good
that
move.
Should be pretty straightforward now with the straight line speed.
Pushed it to the inside. Tries to sweep back out to get a better exit, but he just almost gets the switchback move done. But kind of has to make evasive action part way through. Not quite done, but I feel like now after those few corners it is. And it is pretty light work for Pascal Poland. So the gap, though, Riedmüller has made the absolute most of that, and the gap is up to about 6 seconds. So this is it now. Pascal Poland, is he going to go full push for these last few laps? Or is that it for him today?
Let's watch the lap times.
In terms of the fights on track, we've got this one, Poland versus Riedmüller. See if that develops into the final few laps. Hess, at the minute, is right on the back of Roy Seifert, trying to get the final point of the day for SCMM. And then McAllister just behind is still being held off by Lucas Murno for that top 10 place. So, a couple of interesting battles that could develop. One for points, one for development budget, and one for the win of the race, if Pascal Poland is so inclined to get the hammer down again.
I think there's one more battle that is still going. Oh, something must have happened just at that moment I was talking about it. Turi and Benton Reader were very close together, but now there's a yellow in Sector 3, and I see Benton Reader losing lots of time. That's him.
Daniel Benton Reader, the man who has done 50% of this race sideways, is now stationary. And what's going to happen there? So that it doesn't look like he's moving.
Oh my goodness, that might change things up completely.
So we do have the option of a safety car or essentially a virtual safety car. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I think this is a technical issue.
It is. The engine looks to have given up on him. Looks like a bit of fire at the back of the car.
Yeah, there's smoke. There's definitely smoke.
It's a strong day today for Better Julian. That is such a shame. Benton Reader was driving well. So, is the car still there? Has it been cleared? I'm not sure.
It says he is a DNF. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting. He's not supposed to.
Okay, that's the information. Track is clear, so no safety car or anything.
That's interesting. I didn't think he was supposed to clear out unless they've just said you can, and they've just decided to keep the race going. I think it's fair enough.
I mean, Poland's might disagree with you, but for this guy, this is of course the best result of that situation. Max Riedmüller still leading this race, still keeping his 6.3 second gap. His last lap time was almost a second faster than Poland's lap time, so everything is looking very well indeed for Riedmüller, who of course is having his debut race in the WMSC here.
It's been a fabulous drive from him, and yes, maybe the conditions in the track have suited the car design and the philosophy, but he's driven superbly. Great qualifying in terms of second on the grid, stuck around at the top, and is now in a position to win this race. And despite not really being tipped as a potential contender, fantastic performance for him. And he's just got a few laps to go to get the job done. Now, Benton Reeder's retirement does change the complexion of things a little further down. So Hess now doesn't have to worry about getting past Seifert for points. Cooper McAllister doesn't have to worry about getting past Murnau for development budget, but I'm sure Cooper McAllister is going to want to try anyway. So the top 10 is looking pretty decided at this point in time. We've got Fournier a lap down and René Weller in 12th, and then Feckler will shuffle up to 13th very shortly, I'm sure. McAllister now, he's been close behind Murnau a couple of times within a second, and I don't know whether he's dropped back of half attempts or having to back off or whatever reason, but he's within range again, so he might look at making a go of it.
Yeah, surely, but I don't think it's now worth as much as it was before to risk a lot for McAllister.
Again, it would have been great to see how he'd have done without his early penalty, because he had good pace, and he's recovered well and driven, and is going to get, by the looks of it, although it's a little bit sideways there, a potentially very good result for the team as a substitute.
Yeah, but I wonder if SCMM has set up their car a little bit too much for qualifying, because they did very well there with 4th and 5th, but in the race they had a bit of bad luck as well, but I don't think they were too good on pace here either compared to the cars around them.
It's a very good point, and seeing how McAllister struggled on the exit of not Clubhouse, Crocodiles a few seconds ago, it makes you wonder, have they sacrificed drivability for outright pace? And actually, because of that lack of drivability, they've not just been able to run the consistent laps they need to stick with the front-running cars.
Yeah, it seems apparently so.
As it stands, the lap times of our front two about 0.2 apart. So Pascal Polens seems to just be holding station.
Yeah, surely for Poland the tires will also be on the drop-off right now. I mean, they've done 3 pit stops. Wilborn, in fact, has done 4. But let's not count that first one. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to try anything silly in these last 2 laps.
Again, flying under the radar, but seemingly on for a decent result. Philip Pushka running very nicely in 6th place at the minute. In a bit of a no man's land, but to get a decent result out of today's proceedings.
Yeah, also, we have criticized him for the move against Turi, but Yannis Wolbon, very well done after that four-stop race to put it back into fourth. That's a very good performance by him as well.
Absolutely, and the thing is, both races, Yannis Wolbon has been incredibly quick. The issue has been the tyre wear, and just how much he's had to burn through those tyres, and the fact that he needed to do an extra stop in round one. So it was quicker at the end, but didn't have enough time to get things done. He took a risk today, admittedly, which added to his stops, but even then, the early phase of the race, it was still 15 laps for a set of inters, which just isn't enough. Similar for Polenz, and Polenz again similarly quick, but just fell foul track limits penalties in round one. I think it's the issue for both of them as we come on to the start of the final lap. They're both incredibly quick drivers, but they need to definitely work on that tyre wear, whether that is their driving styles, whether that is the car, but it is becoming a bit of a hindrance to them because they are both incredibly quick and fighting at the top. At least there's consistency. My goodness, they're going to have to try and fix that if they want to really take the top step.
Yeah, in both races, Team Holland would have won if they didn't have to make an extra pit stop. Pace-wise, they were clear pretty much of the rest, but that extra pit stop, as you said, that really cost them. And it will also cost them in the future, of course.
Oh, absolutely it could. But the story of the day has to be this man, Max Riedmuller. His debut after missing round one. Maniti Racing in the first round, their best finish was 9th. But today, he's qualified second. He's run incredibly well. And now he's just 1 or 2 corners away from a victory. It's been a solid performance from a team that they were expected to be almost a midfield team. But what a performance. Bless the rains down in Africa. Max Riedmuller, he wins round 2 of the WMSC 2023 Championship. What a result for him and Maniti Racing. A very big congratulations. Pascal Polenz crosses the line to come home second. And then we're just waiting. Denny Vella just past a few back markers.
I think the backmarkers want to pass him with the wets. But congratulations to Danny Weller as well. Finishes third.
Wolbon home in 4th. And then Turi just a few seconds back. A little bit of a wait for them to come across the line. This is Turi now. And another interesting race today. Just kept us guessing all the way through in terms of strategy. The fact that it was changeable conditions didn't hamper the driving standards for the most part. I don't think there was any kind of erratic behaviour. But he's got checkered flag now. Sorry, have we? Oh,
that's Pushka across the line now.
That's Pushka. Sorry, I saw the checkered flag late. I do apologise. It's for the most part the driving standards have been really good. There's been some brilliant overtaking throughout. I think it's been a fantastic race today, Robin.
Yeah, of course, and a bit of drama is always good to have as well, as long as it stays inside the boundaries that the regulations set. So, as we see the full results, you've went through them already, Ash, but let's just look at them once again. Max Riedmuller wins ahead of Pascal Polenz. Danny Weller with that stop on the wet tires managed to salvage third. But it was very close in the end with Yannis Wolbon, who finishes 4th, then Turi, Pushke, Seifert, and Alexander Hess rounds up the point scorers. And then Lucas Murno getting some budget in for his team. And then here we have the second page of the results with Fournier, Weller, and Fekela. These are the race finishers. And then unfortunately, Daniel Banton-Rieder, Jörn von Wendt, Aaron Curtis, Jack Reeve, and Aaron Smith had to finish their race prematurely.
Big shame for the Streamline Engineering guys again to be at that bottom end, but long way to go. And another very interesting race. And we're going to hopefully get our race winner in, and I believe he's just joined us now. Max Riedmüller, your debut in the season, and you are a race winner. Congratulations. How was that for you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a tough race, especially I was all the time in the dirty air. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really happy about the performance, about the race. Yeah, can't say anything else.
Were you expecting to be on this sort of pace after qualifying? Were you kind of expecting to kind of be where you were, or was it kind of a bit of a surprise for how competitive you were, or what was, where did
Yeah,
this line up with your expectations?
yeah. Before the event, I don't know exactly where my pace was, but after the first laps in the qualifying, I knew that I can do pole or yeah, where I ended up. Yeah, and in the race, I also know that I have the pace to keep up with the front runners, and yeah, was managing at the beginning my tires a little bit, and yeah, after that, yeah, I was also a little bit of luck because then he got the wet tires, I think, and
You
I had
did.
I had the inters, and I think that was the game changer at the end.
Was it a consideration for you at any point, or did it feel like after you felt it was inters all the way today?
Sorry.
Did you feel like wet tires was an option for you? Did you consider it, or were you just set on the intermediates?
Yeah, I've think about the wet tires before then he goes into the pit. Before that, I wanna to undercut him, but he goes into the pit and I doing the opposite. So yeah, and then was pushing that lap, and after that the rain is going a little bit yeah, was less, and then I decided for inters. So yeah, I would say it was luck, but yeah, sometimes luck is on the side.
Absolutely. In the end, very much the right decision. Well, congratulations once again, Max. Fantastic performance, and yeah, all the best for Bahrain. And yeah, well done again.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
congratulations.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Cheers. And that brings us to the end of another WMSC event. Robin, what a race! I don't know what I was going to ask you probably a little bit of a hospital question. It's like, what moment can you take away from that? But there was so much to kind of, to take in and enjoy. Is there anything really that stands out for you from today's race?
I might need to rewatch it to really like pick out the moments, because there was so much going on. Again, so much going on strategy wise, and once again, the race and the drivers kept us guessing on who will come out at the top in the end. And after the last pit stops, it was still not very clear as to who might be fighting for the victory, who will get it in the end. So once again, a great action, and I can't wait for the next race in Bahrain, because I'm sure it will be the same once again.
Absolutely. And yeah, I want to second that. The fact that, again, we've had brilliant racing action, fights up and down the field, fights for the lead on track, and strategy keeping things guessing. It's been fantastic. And again, it's also shown that the field isn't set yet. We had different drivers maybe slightly lower down in terms of performance against Australia. So again, heading into the next round in Bahrain, which, if I was a betting man, say is probably going to be a dry race.
Are you sure about that?
I think so. I think the desert will be pretty dry on this occasion. But yeah, once again, it's still not completely clear. The only thing we do know is Team Holland are incredibly quick. They just need to look after those tyres. But yeah, what an incredible race today. But yeah, Robin, thank you very much for joining me once again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ash.
I'm unfortunately not going to be with you for Bahrain next time. So I don't know if you're going to be alone, but I know you're going to be there and taking care of proceedings. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race. And thank you to everyone who's joined us on stream and watched throughout and commented. We've tried to answer a couple of things as we've gone. But yes, thank you very much to everyone. And we're going to leave it there, and we will see you next time in Sakir. Thanks very much.
Goodbye.